Welcome everybody. I'm Taylor Riggin for golfswing.com. We're here in our chipping series, and this video is going to be all about how to create the proper stroke and impact position to hit great chip shots. Now, if you're like most players, a lot of amateurs have a tough time with being able to produce the right kind of chipping stroke. A lot of times they get very wristy. They kind of slap at the ball, or they generally try to scoop that ball up off the turf and help it to get into the air. And that's actually just the opposite of what we want to do here. We want to allow the club and the loft of that club to do the work for us by striking downward, creating a slightly downward brush through the grass with a nice firm flat left wrist that creates resistance in that strike after we've struck the ball. So it's very important that we understand what that looks like, how to produce it, as well as some of the things that we want to avoid so that we can make sure that we always have nice, crisp, clean contact in our chipping. So once we get into the other parts of the setup like we've talked about here in our other videos, get our stance nice and narrow. We're going to take a good grip, slide our hands down the club a little bit there. But once we start talking about our actual stroke, what we're trying to do here is there's a tiny bit of wrist hinge in the stroke. It's kind of a misconception that you don't want to have any wrist hinge, and what that typically does is it gets people very stiff and robotic. It's going to have, what we want to have is a little bit of give in your right wrist. Let that hinge just a little bit on the way back. We don't need an excessive hinge, but just enough so that you can still maintain good touch and feel throughout the stroke. And then on the way through, after we've taken the club back and gotten it vertical here, as we come through, we want to strike in a position where the hands are leaning forward, just like in the position we were when we started. Back, a little bit of wrist hinge in the right foot, and strike downward, brushing through the grass, hands ahead, and we want to create a little resistance, a little firming up in our grip and in our left wrist to help promote this kind of a finish where the hands stay ahead. We don't allow the club head to pass by so that we can hit downward, firm, keep the ball low, and hit the ball nice and crisp. Now, as we take a look at this shot from down the line, we set up for our chip shot, get onto our left side here. As we take that club back, we want to bring that club pretty much straight back and straight through down our target line. Again, a slightly downward brushing stroke through the grass, and we're going to create this hinge and hold position again where we resist that left wrist and not allow it to release through and create this cupping position here. Hinge and hold, nice firm strike. I want to also talk about the tempo or the pace of our stroke. We want to have a nice brisk stroke that allows us to hit a little bit sharply through the ball rather than slow or guided. We want to have a nice brisk tempo there, a little bit of hinge, strike and hold. Again, down the line here, once we get set up, we want to bring that club right back down the line. It's going to go up, down, up, down, up, and we're going to briskly brush right through the grass and hit a shot just like this. Once that ball gets down there, it's going to hit the green and roll out towards our target. So again, one last recap. We want to make sure that we create a stroke where we hinge and hold. Don't let the left wrist break down. We want to have a nice brisk pace to our stroke there. And we want to have a club that goes up, down, up as we go through. Sometimes people talk about hitting just downward, and we don't want to plug that club straight into the turf. It's going to go up, down, up as we make a nice crisp contact through this shot. Work on your stroke. Look at yourself in the mirror and watch yourself as you create that kind of a stroke. It's going to do wonders for your consistency and your contact, and it's going to make you definitely a better chipper of the golf ball. Use this and you're definitely going to get better. Thanks for watching.